Today we're going to be making something beautiful with resin, but before we get started, we have to mix up our resin. So this is my favorite resin I like to use. It's Let's Resin Epoxy. It's a 1-to-1 ratio resin. So that means it's got a part A and a part B, and it is equal parts by volume. So you're going to pour your part A into your cup. I like to start with my part A when I pour and mix my resin. And you're just going to make sure that you're pouring equally right on the line of the amount you're measuring. I was working on quite a few projects this day when I made this, so I was mixing up 16 ounces. So I'm pouring in 8 ounces of my part A, and then I'm going to go in and pour in 8 ounces of my part B, which is this part here, 1-to-1 ratio by volume. But when you're first starting out with resin, I recommend you start small. So I would mix up 2 or 4 ounces to start out. So if you wanted to mix up 2 ounces, you would do 1 ounce part B and 1 ounce part A. And if you wanted to mix up 4 ounces, it would be 2 ounces part B and 2 ounces part A, equal parts A and B. So after you pour your equal parts A and B into your mixing cup, you're going to want to take a spatula and mix for 3 minutes. And when I mix my resin, I like to use a spatula because the wooden stir sticks are not sealed or treated in any way, so they will leak air into your projects. So I prefer to use a plastic or a silicone spatula. And when you're mixing, you want to mix slowly. You don't want to introduce a bunch of air bubbles into your resin. You don't want to whip it up. Just mix slowly. Scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of the cup, scrape off your stir stick, and really incorporate those parts A and B together. And some people even do like a figure 8 motion when they're mixing up their resin. That works well too. You could do that. And you're just going to keep mixing for 3 minutes. And when you're mixing, you're going to see like striations and stringy lines in your resin. Once you're done mixing, all of those lines and striations will be gone and your parts A and B will look clear. So what I like to do after I mix for 3 minutes is I take this mix and I pour it into a new clean cup and I'm going to mix for another 3 minutes. This is called the double cup mixing technique, and I do recommend everyone to mix their resin like this because it ensures your resin gets mixed up properly. And also mixing with a silicone or a plastic spatula is great for this technique of mixing because it helps you get every single drop of resin out of that first cup. So you want to make sure you get every single drop of resin out, and then we're going to mix for another 3 minutes. And same thing, you want to mix slowly, scrape the bottom of the cup, scrape the sides of the cup, scrape off your stir stick, really making sure that we incorporate those parts A and B together. When I measure and mix my resin, it takes me about 10 minutes from start to finish. So I do recommend this double cup mixing technique because when people first start out with resin, sometimes their resin does not set up properly, and it's most of the time from under mixing or their parts A and B are not equal when they are measuring their resin. So after 3 minutes, I take my resin and I pour it into some new cups and I run it through my bubble remover machine. This machine is from Let's Resin. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. It works fantastic to get rid of bubbles in your resin. And this machine works best with a medium viscosity resin, so with like a medium thickness. It works great with the Let's Resin epoxy, and it's very easy to use. You just plug it in, put the lid on, hit the power button, and that's it. Very, very easy to use. Similar to a vacuum chamber and much easier to use than a vacuum chamber or a pressure pot because you don't need an air compressor. It's plug in and ready to go. Today we're going to be using this sphere mold set from Let's Resin as well. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. And when I use fake roses in resin, I like to reserve about 1 ounce of clear. And then I'll take my fake rose and dip it in that clear resin. And that helps prevent air bubbles from getting trapped in the petals of your rose. So just take 1 ounce of clear, leave it to the side. You could do more clear like this one off to the side and just dip that rose in your resin to help kind of seal it up before you put it in your mold. And I also like to put my rose upside down on top of my mold and just drizzle in that clear that I reserved just to make sure no air bubbles get trapped in between the petals when you're using these fake roses. So I have my sphere mold here. We're going to fill it up a third of the way with clear resin, and then we're going to take that fake rose and just place it right inside the mold. For these, I like to do like a little U shape, kind of squeeze it like a taco, and it'll fit right inside the mold. Just push it down into that clear resin. And I like to kind of center it as best as I can. Sometimes these roses will move a little bit and get off center, but they're pretty big, so they pretty much stay where you put them. And this is how it's looking. I'm going to take a little bit more clear and just pour it right on top of that rose so the bottom of the stem is completely covered with clear resin. And that's going to be it for layer number 1. I'm going to let it cure overnight and we'll be back tomorrow to fill up the mold the rest of the way. We're going to be doing this project in 2 layers. Here we are the next day. I have about 4 ounces of resin in my cup. I'm going to pour in some red glitter. I use about a tablespoon when I'm at using 3 or 4 ounces of clear resin, and I'm going to add a few drops of alcohol ink. I put in 4 drops of alcohol ink and a tablespoon of glitter. And I like to do this because the alcohol ink helps pop bubbles in your resin, and it also helps build up the color of your glitter. It gives you a nice bright color, and if your glitter sinks, it also helps kind of disguise that so you don't have a layer of glitter and then a bunch of clear. The layer will look red all throughout the layer that you're going to pour. So we're just about done mixing. I'm going to pour this right on top of that layer that we did yesterday. I mixed up my resin the same way off camera, and we're just going to fill that up. And I had quite a bit left over, so we're going to go ahead and make a little coaster or an ornament from this mold here. This is a holographic silicone mold that I made. If you want to see how I made this mold, I will link that video down below in the description box as well. Just going to pour that glitter right into the mold. I'll link all the materials that I'm using down below in the description box. Everything is pretty much from Let's Resin. Discount code NAPTIME will give you a discount. I'm going to let these cure overnight. This is the next day. So with the sphere molds, what I like to do is pull the lip to the side, squirt in a little bit of 91% isopropyl alcohol, and then flip it upside down like this and kind of pull the sides or the bottom to the sides, and it will fly right out. That 91% isopropyl alcohol helps break the seal on these bigger molds, and it'll come right out. You could also use water if you want to, up to you. Here's how it turned out. It's so gorgeous and beautiful. I absolutely love it. I hope you give this a try. This turned out absolutely gorgeous with that red, with the iridescent rose. So, so, so pretty. I love these roses. They're just magical when you put them in resin. It really magnifies all the colors that it has. The camera just does not do these justice. They're so gorgeous. These fake roses are iridescent and they have so many beautiful colors. I absolutely love using them in resin. I've also made pyramids with these, so if you haven't seen those videos, definitely go check them out on my YouTube channel, Naptime Creations. And here's the little coaster or ornament. Turned out really pretty as well. To make it into an ornament, I'll just drill a little hole, put an eye screw and some twine to hang it up, and probably hot glue a bow on there. It would be really pretty as an ornament or a coaster. Let me know what you think. Don't forget to subscribe and check out Let's Resin.